Welcome to the VWell podcast, real conversations with our experts about our mission to revolutionize wellness in body, mind, and soul. Thanks for joining us. I'm here today with one of our experts, Roz Tyburski, who has been practicing and teaching yoga and meditation for over 30 years. More recently, she has become a life coach and offers others somatic coaching, equine assisted coaching, which is fascinating. We'll go into that, and transformational breath work for individuals and also groups. I'm delighted to be talking to you today, Roz, and learning more about what you do and how people who are on VWell can learn and can work with you. So welcome.
Well, thank you, Edward. It's really good to be here, and I'm excited to be a part of VWell. Yeah, I can't wait for this to take off because I know it will.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And depending on when you're listening to it, it might already have taken off.
That's true.
In this podcast. You're one of our, which is exciting because you're one of our first interviews. So and we'll get to that in a moment about what we're all about. But let's start. I've sort of summarized it briefly, but tell me what modalities do you share with people? What is it that you offer?
Okay. I offer coaching. That's kind of my primary thing, but I teach a regular yoga class. So I'll offer yoga online as well, and meditation and breath work.
I love that. I love that. And the horses, tell me about that. That doesn't seem to be a VWell part of it, but it's fascinating.
Yeah. On my farm, I offer equine assisted coaching. Of course, we can't do that online, right? But if someone wants to come to North Carolina, for equine assisted coaching, and they bring a lot because they really tune into your nervous system and whether you're regulated or not. And kind of, if what you're presenting on the outside matches what's going on the inside. And when you're not, they have a tendency to kind of let you know in subtle ways and maybe not so subtle ways. But it opens up the door for a lot of good questioning and introspection. And so it's just peaceful being with them.
I love that. So tell me about your wellness journey. Where did it begin?
I would say it began really, my mother was very influential because she took very good care of herself, and she cooked, fresh meals for us. And she practiced Kriya yoga when I was a kid, which is not the asana practice that most of us think of with yoga, but it's more about the meditation and the spiritual side of yoga. And I didn't, as a child, I didn't really buy into it. But in my 30s, I found myself really seeking out yoga, and I found my own asana practice, and that's when really everything came together. So I kind of found myself through the body. I found my spirit.
I love it. Who or what would you say has been the biggest influence on your path?
Actually, I would say there are three. So one is my mother, who I mentioned. One is my coaching instructor, and mentor, who I learn my coaching practice from. And then the third is my horse Pogo.
I love that. I love two humans and a horse.
Yeah.
How long have you had Pogo?
I have had her for 12 years now, I believe. Yeah. So
that's great.
She was a wild Mustang, and my daughter helped train her. And anyway, she's been with us for a while.
Wow. I love that. What wellness book or other resource or what has been the sort of touchstone that's most shaped what you offer?
Okay. There are actually three that come to mind. One is my coaching manual. The other one is a book by Thomas Hanna. It's called Somatics, Reawakening the Mind's Control of Movement, Flexibility, and Health. And then the third one is Your Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk.
I've read that one.
Yeah.
But that's great.
Yeah. But they all really inform me. So it's, I like
it. It seems like they inform. Do you want to talk a little bit about the kind of coaching you do? What makes it, your coaching?
Okay. Yeah. So I do what I refer to as somatics coaching, but it's really based on nervous system alignment, recognizing when when you're dysregulated, being able to recognize first when you're dysregulated, then learning some tools to help you re-regulate so that you can really have access to your logical and creative thinking. Because when we get dysregulated, when we go into a kind of a fear state or a sympathetic nervous system state, we lose access to our prefrontal cortex and we don't make good decisions. So if we can see that happening and then learn some tools to kind of get back in alignment, then we can make better decisions. And I believe that everyone really has the best decisions inside of them, but we just need to create the safety and the space and the place for them to find those things.
It's very powerful. Was there a moment when you realized this was going to be your path, that this is what you were going to offer the world?
It's really been kind of a slow transformation rather than a big shift. In my previous corporate life, I managed large-scale organizational changes. And the more I learned about mindset, mindfulness, nervous system regulation, the more I started bringing that into the work that I did in the office. And then eventually I decided I just really needed to get out of the office and, help individuals with their lives.
Well, I like that there's a sort of, you were clearly moving in this direction.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but it's been, it's kind of been a long transformation. I wanted things to move quicker when, at some point, but it's like everything happens in its own time. Yeah.
This is one of my favorite questions for people, this pair, which is, what is your favorite healthy snack or food?
Any kind of veggies. Really, I like any kind of veggies. Right now, I'm eating a lot of squash and a lot of cucumbers, and that's because that's what my garden is offering, a lot of squash and a lot of cucumbers. But, really any kind of vegetable. My mother raised me on fresh veggies. So
And the parallel thing, and I always have to do it in quotes, what's your favorite unhealthy food?
Potato chips.
I just finished another one of these, and that was another person's immediate choice. They just immediately knew.
I'm a little picky about them, right? I don't want the kind with the fake flavor on it. I want just like straight up potato chips, and they're better if they're kettle cooked, so they're nice and crunchy. Yeah.
Over the years, what has been the most consistent of your wellness practices?
Yoga. I would say yoga by far. Everything else I've kind of gone in and out of, but yoga has kept me sane and in touch with my body.
And you've been practicing for 30 years or more?
Almost 30 years. I've been practicing for about 28 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I wish I had started earlier. I wish I had started back when, my mother told me that it was good for me.
Yeah, well, you're still doing. I mean, you're doing okay.
Yeah.
It's really going great. Is there a wellness practice or a modality or a trend or something that, no judgment attached to it, that you've tried and said this is, or even if you haven't tried it, this is just not for me?
I've tried running, jogging a number of times, and I never have been able to make it stick. It's I've been a cyclist for a long time, and I thought, it would be great to do, like triathlons or biathlons or something like that. And the running part, just no thanks. Trying to cut down.
I understand.
Yeah.
If you were stranded on a desert island and you could bring only one wellness tool or prop or device of some kind with you for your practice, what would you take?
It'd be my yoga mat. Yeah, maybe a block.
I think that's really clear.
Yeah.
Is there a wellness rule, in quotes, that you enjoy breaking or you find yourself breaking or not following?
I think it would be the thought of no pain, no gain, and I realize that transformation comes from suffering, but I don't think you always have to suffer so much. And sometimes the biggest and most permanent shifts come from slow, steady progress rather than a lot of pain. Yeah.
That's excellent. Do you, the way you approach either your own personal practice or with clients, do you have goals and disciplines, or is it more free form and intuitive how you go about things?
It really, when I'm working with others, it really depends on what they have going on in their life and what works for them. Some people, goals really help. And other people, it's for whatever reason, it almost makes it worse to have goals. So it really depends on the individual. For me personally, with my own wellness, I think about like cycling, for instance. If I want to really up my cycling game, I need to have a goal in place. I need to sign up for a ride that I know I'm really going to enjoy, and that'll make me get on my bike so that I don't hate it once I get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas yoga, on the other hand, if I don't practice, my body will start talking to me. So I don't really need a specific goal to keep up with that. And I think that translates into a lot of things with people. So it really depends.
Mm. What's the best compliment you've ever received?
At the yoga teacher where I teach, the owners are a good 20 plus years younger than I am, and I was in a class one day, and one of the owners came up to me, and there are two women that own it. She says, we were talking about you the other day, Roz, and she says, we just think you are so beautiful, and like the whole package, and we kind of want to be you when we grow up. And I was like, oh, that's really sweet. Anyway.
That is an excellent compliment.
Yeah.
That is the excellent compliment. Is there a word or a phrase that you find yourself repeating a lot, or that students associate with you, or clients associate with you, a catchphrase, or just something you find yourself saying often?
Yeah. When I'm teaching a yoga class, I talk a lot about the lines of energy, and I tell people to, find that line of energy from your pinky finger to your heel, and then, breathe into it and expand it and create space. When I'm talking to coaching clients, I talk about, find that energy within your body. So I would say it's the lines of energy I try and get people to explore. And sometimes when the words are coming out of my mouth, it's like, oh my gosh, here we go again,
But it's helping them, and it's fresh for them.
Unless they come to my classes all the time, then they hear it just about every time.
But there's a reason they're coming. They need to hear it. If you weren't doing wellness, what do you think you would be doing if you weren't in this world?
I would love to be an artist. I think I would work in paints and in clay. I've dabbled a little bit, but just for fun. But yeah, I think that would be really fabulous. Maybe when I retire, I'll do that.
Good. If you were looking back, what advice would you give your younger self about this whole wellness journey, or the journey in general? But
drink more water, do yoga, breathe.
I like that. Very straightforward. Drink more water, do yoga, and breathe.
Yeah. My kids tease me because that's kind of my advice I've given them their entire lives. And they said, they're going to like frame it and, remember me by that.
Yeah, you're ways off it for the tombstone.
Yeah.
What do you what's the biggest misconception people have about wellness?
I think the biggest misconception is that it's hard, that it takes a lot of effort. And I think that once you understand from a nervous system perspective what's holding you back and why you self-sabotage, then you learn some tools to bring yourself back into kind of nervous system homeostasis. Then wellness and the desire to care for yourself just becomes a natural part of your being. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be hard. And I think a lot of people think, oh, it takes so much effort, And I suppose it does, but it doesn't feel like effort once you once you understand who you are and you love yourself.
That's excellent. What's the biggest shift you've seen in the wellness world since you began being part of it so actively?
The outfits.
Say more.
No, really. I think it's towards mindfulness, and I absolutely love that. Now that it's getting deeper into somatics and getting more in touch with your body, when we feel safe, we can quiet our minds. and go inside, and then there's just a world of personal wisdom waiting for us. So I think really that shift into more and more mindfulness, I think, is the biggest thing I've seen.
And what we're recording this right now is one of the early things in the start of VWell, but what drew you to VWell? Because you're one of the first people who is on board, and we're excited to have you. What about what we want to do and what you want to do is a good fit?
Well, mostly it was you, Edward.
Thank you. I'll take the compliment.
I've been following you for a while. And one of the things, I love what you offer, but one of the things I really love is when I read your newsletters, you start with a very personal story. And then you break off in some tangent that seems a little unrelated, but then you bring it all back together, and it's all right in line with the theme that you have, for what you're saying. And I just, so when I saw that you were doing this, I was like, oof, I want to be a part of something that Edward's putting together.
Well, I will take that compliment. And you're such a good fit because, we are all about the synthesis, which your work is about mind, body, and spirit, clearly.
Yeah.
And clearly. Thank you. And well, my last question is, what's the, sometimes it's easy to summarize, sometimes it's hard, but what's the impact you want your work to have when you on people?
I want the people I work with to truly learn to love themselves inside and out. To take the time to listen to what their bodies have to say, because there's a lot of wisdom there, and to develop curiosity and wonder. Question their judgments and doubt their doubts. Yeah.
That's very beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I am delighted to welcome you on this podcast and to be a part of VWell. If you are interested and want to learn more, it's all on the site. You can see Roz and her offerings there. Thank you so much for being a part of everything we're doing.
Thank you so much, Edward. I'm really happy to be here.
Thanks for joining us on the VWell podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, please share it, subscribe, and stay connected at VWellNow.com. See you next time.